Welcome to episode 18 of the Toronto on Tilt Blue Jays podcast. I'm Steve Artabello with Anthony Harris and Theo Giordano. You can find us at our website, torontoontilt.com. I'm about to have a bunch of free time, so I will be probably writing. Not probably, I will definitely be writing on the website more often. You can find us on Twitter, where I'll probably be a lot more active because I'll have the time, at Toronto on Tilt. Of course, you can find the video of this podcast on YouTube, Toronto on Tilt, and the audio will be available everywhere you get podcasts. That's Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Bleaker, Anchor, all of the things. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. It's okay. We're going to tell you right off the hap. We're recording off the hop, right off the hap.
Right off the J hap.
Yeah. Oh, God. Wouldn't it be nice to have consistent ass J hap in the rotation? Like, actually, no, the rotation's fine. I want someone in the bullpen.
Stinks.
And now he does.
The old
back
2016.
In the day, I was going to say the J.A. Happ when he was a Blue Jay. Apparently, he hated being called J.A. Happ. He was just J. Happ. But
Yeah.
We're recording. Weird. It's the top of the eighth. There's one striking against Manuel Margot. Adam Cimber's in the game, who we will talk about. But just to let you know, we're recording during the game. So it might end at the end of this podcast. I would assume so. And we'll get right to it.
It's going to be a 12-inning game. We're not going to. We don't have time this week.
That's our luck, actually. That's just the way this would work. I also want to get to right off the hop next week, instead of on Sunday at our regular time after the Jays game, we're going to record on Monday. We're going to sum up the week. The All-Star break's coming, so then we're also going to do like a mid-season review and kind of just really dig into how this team's going. We talked about changed expectations. We've talked about all that kind of stuff. So we're going to really dig into it and like where this team is and kind of like what their chances are going forward, what we like, what we don't like, and all that fun stuff. Now, we'll get to where we normally do. Every podcast we break down, have a week in review. So we get to the first game of the week.
Tony.
That was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The beginning of the Mariners series. And that was one where we were looking forward to this series because, the Mariners, even though they've actually been playing pretty well recently, fueled by a very poor run differential.
They're like the antithesis of the Blue Jays, who have the crazy positive run differential. And the Mariners have this. Well, they had the same record going into that series with a terrible run differential.
Yeah, we had Robbie Ray pitch against who pitched for Seattle? It was Chris Flexen, and Chris Flexen was not too sharp. The Blue Jays put a lot of guys on, but they only scored 3 on him over 5. A few balls to the warning track. And Robbie Ray was lights out through 6 innings. Well, through 5 innings, gave up nothing. And he had a 3-run lead, but then gave up a 3-run home run to tie France, to tie the game. What a disaster that happened. But the Blue Jays had a couple more 3-run home runs of their own. Bo Bichette hit one in the 6th, and Marcus Semien in the 7th, which pretty much sealed the deal there. Bullpen didn't give up any runs, so they won 9-3.
Was this the Marcus Semien home run where he got his hand so far in? I don't know how he kept that ball fair.
Yeah, it was off the pole,
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
He's an elite player.
Best second baseman in baseball right now.
Legitimately, yeah.
Facts. Only facts. All-star starter.
One of our 3 all-star starters, yes.
It was great. It was nice not seeing the bullpen have to really protect a big lead because the offense came out and managed to get it to the point where, we're not all having heart palpitations watching what's going on because as we've talked about, there are issues with the bullpen, which did get addressed and we will get to that. That game wasn't bad. The rest of the series, Theo?
This is my least favorite game of the year for a lot of reasons. The main one is because this was the YouTube game. Wednesday, June 30th, the Jays played the game exclusively on YouTube.
So bad.
Lost 9-7 and 10.
Well, or you could have listened to it on the radio with Bucket Tabby radio only. That was your other option. Those were the 2 options.
I listened to the first inning on the radio, and it sounded like at least they were aware they're on the radio this time because they were only doing radio. Most of the times, because they do the simulcast shit, they don't know they're on radio. But the broadcast, I know what they're trying to do. they're trying to get like the younger people. They just want to talk about whatever and have the game on in the background. But this is just not work. It was the most forced thing ever. You want a little bit of professionalism. Like we do what we do, but we don't expect the broadcast to do that. That's kind of like what I thought.
I was talking about it with a friend, and I kind of said, you either had to really double down on not doing a traditional broadcast, but then you would have needed not Brian Kenny. You would have needed a guy that's like a studio host, a guy that's good at getting everyone in the booth involved to have a conversation about baseball with the game going. That would have made that feel, because off the hop, a 4-person booth feels like too many people. And then when you have one guy who wants to talk all the time, because we talked about this beforehand, like Theo was saying, he didn't notice like how annoying Brian Kenny could be. And it's because I think that normally what they do is they stick him in a studio where he's doing a monologue. Because when you put him with other people and he constantly talks over them, it gets annoying. And then you have the Australian pitcher, who I don't even get that guy's name.
Peter Moylan.
Yeah, he barely talked because Kenny would only talk to DeRosa, and then the girl who would talk about stats, who's actually had like some of the most hilarious stats during the broadcast, like she would just get cut off because Kenny would ignore her and talk about whatever he would talk about.
Wasn't there a fifth guy?
Oh, probably. That's how much of a mess this was.
Because I missed the beginning, and I'm listening. I'm like, okay, there's one voice, and I kept hearing voices getting added. I'm like, how many fucking people are here?
No,
and they were.
Again, that's what I mean. They needed a studio host that was going to get everybody involved, because the fact that they didn't get everyone involved, they kept like you would randomly hear them after an inning. Like there was times where you didn't hear people for an entire inning, and you'd just be like, "Oh shit, that's right, that guy is still here, or that girl is still here." Oh, okay, all right, I guess. You know what I mean? Like
Fran Charles, get Fran Charles on.
Perfect.
He's an absolute pro in the studio. Yeah.
Well, the other time they did the YouTube game, they had though Vasgersian, so they went with an actual, like a big time name, so it made a little bit more sense. But I guess we're getting kind of off.
Yeah, we'll get into the game.
We're getting down the beaten path out here about the.
There was a baseball game
presentation
played around that. Steven Matz returned from COVID, not very good. Looked pretty rusty. 2 2/3, 4 runs, only 3 Ks. Jay's offense kept battling back in this one though. Behind the bat of Lourdes Gurriel, drove in 3 runs.
He's been red hot.
Homer in the 8th inning. Game stayed tied until the 10th inning when Charlie decided to go with Patrick Murphy over a few arms, including the newly acquired Cimber, who has looked good.
Was unavailable that day?
I don't know if it was a matchup thing. I don't know if he was unavailable. I felt like he was warming up and part of that game.
That's why they traded for him to pitch in a game like that.
This is right. Do we have one of these moments every podcast where we just go, what the fuck was Charlie thinking? But yes, sorry to derail.
I guess the Patrick Murphy, they wanted to see what we had in him, and we saw what we had in him. He gave the 3-run shot to Dylan Moore. Jays couldn't come back, lost the game. We should also mention, too, because I feel like we've touched on it before, Anthony Kay. Very good appearance in this one. I think he had 4 innings.
Yeah.
5 Ks. Looked really good. So
2 base runners.
Yeah.
He's Anthony Kay in this bullpen weapon role before Charlie burned him out last year. Looked like this, actually.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at like, because I'm thinking ahead now, which we'll probably get to more seriously next week. But if you get another pitcher and you say, okay, Stripling, you can go back to the bullpen. If you have a guy like Anthony Kay pitching like that, you now have like 2 guys who you can trust to come in.
I don't know if you can take Stripling out of the rotation.
That's a good point.
That's like we're kind of at a point where, you know what I mean? Like, as much as I was banging the drum for he needs to be in the bullpen for what they're doing with Anthony Kay, at this point,
I guess is Steven Matz the odd guy out right now?
Yeah, and because you don't owe him anything really long term, and you've you traded for him. I guess we can do this in the next podcast because you know what I mean.
I just kind of thought of it now.
No, I know what you mean. I do this all the time. I'm usually the one who derails things, so you don't have to apologize to me. But no, I think it would probably be Matt's actually makes the most sense, and he would be more of like a pure mop up guy at that point. I think, you know what I mean. Someone who, or because he throws hard, you might like. What if Steven Matz all of a sudden ends up throwing like 98, 99 out of the bullpen? right? Like you never know. That's the wild thing about when starters go to the bullpen and they can air it out for a shorter period of time. Be real interesting.
Tony, you got Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday, Canada Day, was supposed to be a nice day where our team put on a show for the country, and they did not at all. Ryu was pretty garbage from the jump. Gave up 2 in the first, then gave up a home run in the Jake Fraley solo shot in the second, and a Shed Long 2-run homer in the third. He only went 4 innings, gave up 4 earned, 5 total, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. He's just doesn't really have it right now. He's in a cold streak. But Yusei Kikuchi, who's been on a roll this year, not enough people are talking about him. He went 7 innings, only the home run to lead off the game from Semien, 6 Ks to a walk. He was lights out, and then they didn't score. But the big story from this game was Tyler Chatwood, who came in I believe it was the 9th inning, and he had a meltdown. Had a meltdown. You got to say it that way. Gave up 2 runs, and there was a lot of yelling towards Charlie.
I would also like to point out that Charlie said after the game that he wasn't yelling at him, that he was yelling that he wanted to protect the bull, like some just bullshit. Like Charlie might be a worse liar than he is manager of the bullpen.
Why would Tyler Chatwood care at all about the rest of the game?
I have no idea.
It's the 9th inning of a game.
I love how Tyler Chatwood's now on the IL, because that felt like, I don't know about you guys, but that IL stint doesn't really feel like an injury, a neck injury of whatever happened to Tyler Chatwood. That almost feels like You
see the roster manipulation we had this week. We put Anthony Castro down in Piamps, and we can't just lose Tyler Chatwood. They kept him up for that reason. So now he's on the IL. They're able to bring in some new arms.
And you got Castro back on the roster, which we hammered them for taking him off the roster because we're like, well, at least he throws strikes unlike Chatwood.
Yeah.
So some interesting things happened. It actually did. And I have this feeling, you know what I mean? I get it. It wasn't like the standard. He's on the IL with fatigue, but that did feel like that was you're on the IL, bud. Like, yeah, sure, we're not exactly going to waive you or whatever, but you just take a seat. You're not pitching for a while.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Getting to the Friday game here. Friday, July 2nd.
Actually, before that, you want to talk about Ryu, since Tony brought up.
Oh, yeah.
And you were the one that, like, here, you take this is your question.
I was just saying, what's the level of concern right now? Like, we discussed that throughout June, he was our worst starter, just statistically. And now we're getting into July. He's been on, like, another thing I saw that we haven't really addressed. This team's been on the road for 2 years now. Yes. They've had 2 different homes. Is that starting to get to him? He's starting to lead pitches up. How concerned are we about him?
I'm interested to see him back with Danny Jansen, because Ryu is a very particular guy. I'm interested to see if that makes any difference. But I've seen a lot of different, like, super advanced stats, like super into the numbers things on Twitter, and people talking about like certain pitches that aren't moving like they used to, and he's not getting swing rates, but he's also not as accurate on the edges anymore. And I have no idea what any of that is, because here's the thing. Like, we talk about Ryu and being concerned that, you know, he's older and he's injury prone. You don't generally lose accuracy. You know what I mean? Like, this could be an injury. It's that, or he's not super comfortable with the catcher. That's kind of what I think. I'm hoping it's as simple as he's not comfortable with the catcher and Danny Jansen comes back and he looks fine. But now, to be honest, though, like what you've already gotten out of Ryu and that contract, and we knew it was all going to be bad, it's actually been, like, it's already paid for itself.
It's why it was concerning. And because we said, like, when we were talking about Garrett Cole, we're like, well, Ryu has just been the most consistent human ever. Like, you just rely on him. And now that the first time in this deal it hasn't been, it's why there's the question.
I'm wondering if it's injury related also, because, like, we have seen him at the beginning of the season. Remember when he was allowed to go against Garrett Cole, when Garrett Cole was allowed to use spider tack? And remember how good Ryu looked. Right, so I'm concerned it could be an injury. I'm hoping it's just a catcher thing, but it's a little early to really sound the alarm bells. But it's this is like we've been talking about it as it's been happening. This is just it's concerning. It's definitely concerning, and it's definitely something you have to continue to monitor.
He's going to get a Baltimore start, and then he'll get the All-Star break. So that should be a let's retool, let's reset. Even if he needs a 10-day, like it's not ideal, but we have a little bit of depth now, especially if Anthony Kaye's pitching okay. Like okay, we can go a start without him, but
and the thing is he's always been a guy like at the end of the shortened season last year, which was only 56 games, by the way, he was starting on 6 days. Like, you know what I mean? They were skipping him and trying to make sure that he could start with 5 days of rest.
Yeah.
If your bullpen's better and you have guys that can go multiple innings, well, maybe you can do that every once in a while. But here's the thing. We shouldn't really be talking about burning the bullpen out like that. Like maybe you call up another then maybe you're talking about a different starter and maybe you're talking about a 6-man rotation.
Oh, because maybe Matt's bullpen. Mr. Dolis is back. I forgot about that.
Yes, and he's in the game. This is about to get real painful real quick, I feel like.
We have a lot of time now. This game.
Well, positive or negative, Rafael Dolis is painful. Whether he's good or bad, he's painful.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I'm concerned, but I'm not,
sounding alarm bells.
Exactly.
No.
Like the All-Star break, this could be the perfect time for him because now maybe he gets the rest he needs as well. And you know what I mean? And then again, you'll have to deal with it at the end of the season because he clearly has an issue pitching. If this, and again, we don't even know what it is. Like I'm pulling at straws and guessing like maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's an injury, maybe it's something like that. So
it wasn't the easiest stretch of teams either. You know, he played Houston, White Sox, the Yankees, the last two, not so much. Part of it was against better teams.
The early part of that too, it's not just better teams. Think about what those guys do specifically to left-handed pitching, specifically to soft tossing left-handed pitching.
They kill lefties,
right?
Especially guys who don't throw hard, like Ryu.
Which is exactly so. That didn't bother me at all. It was more so the last couple starts.
Did you see that?
Like, yeah, I did.
No, I'm about to.
But also, even that Baltimore game, like he was amazing for 5 innings, like unhittable.
And then
it fell apart. So I mean,
that's what I mean by I'm not super concerned yet. You know what I mean? It's not ideal, but there are worse problems.
Always just having a mess of a day today.
Yeah, I just saw this. Wonderful.
Boys, remember a little while ago when I told you this is what it's like living with a young shortstop? Go look at Fernando Tatis Jr.'s errors. I'm dead serious. Go look at.
He has the most errors. Tatis has the most errors in the league.
And he was hurt for a while.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, he was hurt twice.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. So I know it's painful watching. If you're listening to this podcast today while we record it, we're watching Bo go through these errors on Sunday. We're watching it happen. Was that the third?
Second.
I think it was second, and then T.O. had one.
He dropped the ball. He
had a base running mistake. He had a base. That's not.
You're right. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm.
Do you want to finish recapping the week quickly, and then we can?
Yeah, let's finish it off. Because I guess Tony, anything about Ryu that you want to get to specifically?
No, I was just talking about the schedule was part of it. When you're looking at the numbers as a whole, that plays a role as well. But yeah, you guys, I kind of agree with the rest.
Yeah.
But Friday
recording this during a game. This was our original plan. I'm just going to let if you're listening, that was the original plan. Like we were going to record this as the game was going, and then we very quickly didn't do that because we realized how distracted we get. And it has happened again. Like today, we're like, yeah, no problem. Like we're going to record during the game. Like we're going to do this. We'll do it live as the game's ending. We've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, I think if we start doing live stuff, like maybe closer to like September, we do like live broadcasts where we're all watching. Steve,
that's different. Yeah.
This is like we have to kind of recap the week while we do this. So we'll be professionals now. We'll get back on track here.
Exactly.
Friday, July 2nd, Blue Jays. Remember this stretch of Friday games we discussed how bad the Jays were on for about the last month and a bit. Finally had a good game. 11-1 laugher over the Rays. Manoah, unbelievable. His best start as a Blue Jay. Looked a lot like Robbie Ray. 7 innings, 10 Ks. Just looked dominant.
Can I just point something out? I don't know if you guys noticed this. I haven't seen a slider move like that since Chris Archer in his prime with the Rays. and since Jose Barrios when he first came up with the Twins.
You saw guys like when the guy swings when it hits him. That's the kind of a sign of
that, right?
Yeah,
exactly. He hit him in the foot and he K'd. Francisco Mejia, that happened. That's a real thing. Like, listen, some guys have out-of-body experiences. They have games. But the fact that we're watching a top pitching prospect and the fact that he looked like he put it all together for a moment right there, that was something. That
very
was
encouraging. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
only one hit through 6, dude.
And it looked like, because remember,
and we thought Randall could have caught that. Anyway, sorry, Theo.
Yeah. He had those 2 Baltimore starts. The one where he got tossed, and then last start he was saying like I couldn't go inside because these fucking losers would cry if I hit them again, and it would cause a whole thing. He's playing Baltimore again this week. He needs to pitch inside. I don't care if it hits somebody. You gotta pitch the way you pitch.
I also don't think he cares. Like, has Alek Manoah ever given you? Do you think he cares what other people think about him?
I think he doesn't want to cause a problem with his team, I guess, where like his batters are starting to get hit. That's
no, but I also feel like he's a guy who's very confident and isn't like he ain't afraid. I would just like to
he'll fight any of those guys. Yeah, he doesn't care.
I don't think Alek Manoah is afraid of the Baltimore Orioles. And yeah, I think Theo, that's the only thing keeping him from really pitching inside. And like his shit moves a lot. Like his stuff is filthy. It moves a ton, and he's young and he's learning to control it. Now, granted, when you hit guys with 94 or 95, that's a problem. You hit a dude with a slider that's going 81. That's still painful, but like there's no intent there. Anyways, they're the trash birds for the reason. I hate them. I'm not going to give them any, you know what I mean? If Alek Manoah beans one of them, so be it.
Whatever.
On offense, we didn't really need much, considering how good Manoah was. We got a lot, though. We started it with a Springer home run and ended it with an Espinal RBI single against a position player who was throwing nothing but eephuses. It was
Brett Phillips.
He threw a 94-mile-an-hour fastball to start. I don't know where the hell that came from, and then he threw eephuses the rest of the time.
That's why Marwin Gonzalez did the same thing against him.
Exactly.
I've never seen that before.
Me neither. Also, Brett Phillips was the most excited human being ever to pitch in a major league game that I have ever seen.
If he got the 3 up, 3 down, because I think he got the first 2 outs, he was gonna like lose his mind if he got out of that inning without any damage.
The balk was amazing. Or he just dropped the ball. Like honestly, I'm not gonna lie. In a game where it's 11-1 and your team is getting embarrassed, that actually like just lightened the mood. I think everyone enjoyed that. Honestly, even if you're a Rays fan, like I don't know, do Rays have fans?
They do.
If you're a Rays fan, like
their TV numbers are good.
You can't can you hate that? Really? Was that not a hilarious moment? Was that not awesome?
No, it was a terrible moment for baseball when Bo Bichette swung at a 3-0 pitch against Brett Phillips. That was a horrible moment. He fouled it off.
Well, did you see the one that he walked on? Because he wanted to swing so badly, and he caught himself. He caught himself in the midst of one of the hugest uppercut hacks I've ever seen him try to take.
No, he was like smiling the whole at bat. He was so excited.
I talked about this the last time they faced a position player. I'm like, oh my God, can we please see Bo face this guy? Like he's gonna come unglued swinging. He's gonna swing out of his cleats.
I'm glad no one got hurt. I was kind of concerned. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are gonna swing hard and they already swing. Just don't hurt yourself.
With him and Vladdy, it was just like, oh, you know what I mean? Because you could see like they had the this is gonna go home run derby distance look, and it was like, don't pull it oblique, please. Also, George Springer, healthy, pretty good baseball player, eh?
Well, he's the best.
Pretty fucking good. Where are we at? Saturday?
It's Saturday.
George Springer started off the game with a home run in the second inning.
Springer dinger.
Shane McClanahan was no doubter. But then Margot tied it up at a home run off of Ross Stripling, who was otherwise pretty solid. Didn't give up any other runs. Again. 5 Ks, 5 2/3.
That seems to be Stripling's thing, the early dinger and then shut it down.
Yeah, it's fine with me. Getting better as the game goes on, that's,
hey, and if you allow
hard
a run,
to do.
If you allow one run, your team should win.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you allow a solo dinger, hey, cool.
But the problem was Shane McClanahan was just as lights out.
He's the Rays keep finding these lefties that throw 100. Great, cool, fun.
Like he was just cruising. Like even pitch count wise, he threw like 60 pitches through 6 innings. Like
he's going to be a problem in this division for a long time.
Yeah, but they finally got to him in the 6th inning. They scored a few runs, thanks to the Rays' poor defense, as they are known for having terrible defense.
Which is a weird thing as it's flipped around, as they used to be like the best defensive team, and now it's like they have really good outfield defense and horrible infield defense.
And bad approaches at the plate. That's something I noticed too.
They strike out a ton now. Like the Rays are a weird team now. They don't feel like the old Rays.
No, they're like built on the back of great pitching and defense, and the defense has been subpar. So part of the reason why they're struggling. Joey Wendell made an error throwing the ball home with the bases loaded, and that's how they took the lead.
That would have ended the inning.
Yep. Well, that would have been he could have turned a double play.
Gurriel didn't run out of the box. Like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He would have been dead at exactly. He would have been dead at first base because it should have been a double play.
Yeah. And then BGO hit a blooper to left field. He didn't even know where it was. Teoscar had a great read on it, so they scored 2 on it. And then Santiago Espinal, our full-time third baseman, hit a nice 2-run shot. And
he's technically the utility man, but yes, he plays third base every time Ryu starts. Just like Biggio's never allowed to play third base when Ryu starts. Have you guys noticed that?
Well, yeah. This is extra grounders.
I'm dead serious. I would like to point that out. Have you not noticed that? When's the last time Biggio, when he's been healthy, when was he played third base? When Ryu started? Because it was before the injury. Because Joe Panic would play third base.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Also, I love how he's back to second base because it's just like, yes, this is the position he should be in.
Yeah, the easiest infield position.
Even though they keep forcing him into the outfield, even though they now have 4 outfielders.
Second base is kind of hard, anyways.
No, it's not.
You gotta throw from awkward angles. It's tough to do.
Second base is for guys who can't play shortstop. They play second base.
But yeah, that was a nice win there. I think we came into this week. We all thought this was a huge week because of this Rays series. If we can show we're better than the Rays, it gives the front office more ammunition to go and make these deals we need to make. So,
not to mention, speaking of deals, we should get to. They did make a trade right before this Rays series when we were yelling about. I think Theo specifically, you were the one who was really hammering home on. You're playing the Rays. Like this is huge. This series is massive. And they went out and got Adam Cimber, and interestingly enough, Corey Dickerson.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Basically nothing to do it. They gave up Joe Panic, which that was a salary dump for the Marlins. They don't want to pay Corey Dickerson, who's hurt. He's in a walking boot. It doesn't sound like he has a broken foot. He should be back. We were just kind of like, there's no real timetable, but if he's got like a bone bruise, he's not going to be out more than like a month. So that could be a nice bat off the bench. But you traded Andrew Mickenvale. He is literally a dude because, he's got a 2.18 ERA as a reliever in AA this year. He almost walks 6 people per nine. Yeah. That's a problem. 5.66. So he's literally a dude. If you go to his Fangraphs page, he doesn't even have a rating for his fastball. Like if you're a nerd like me and you use Fangraphs a lot, you notice that they have a lot of number ratings for guys' pitches. That's like how hard they throw and how much movement and all that stuff. He has nothing. He's just a guy that existed in the system. So they traded him and Joe Panic and got Adam Cimber, who isn't a free agent until 2025, by the way, who doesn't throw gas, but is like Darren O'Day. He's a submariner. It's awesome.
Yeah, he's been lights out so far through his 3 appearances. He's been very nice.
Yeah,
a stabling presence in this bullpen which they're desperately looking for.
And to be honest, he doesn't strike a lot of guys out, but he also doesn't allow any hits, and he doesn't allow any power, and he doesn't walk anybody. It's all contact. So if you're not going to strike guys out,
we're talking about this guy right now as we're watching this 9th inning.
As we're watching Dolis fall apart. Yes, I know. He's off the IL, by the way. He's pitching in this game. You already know that if you're watching Sunday.
Yeah. Theo's
reaction, I think, says it all.
Putting the game out of reach.
Yeah, we can talk about what happened today now if you want to get to that.
We might as well. Let's focus on the Cimber trade, and then we'll just break this crap down. big money team doing big money things, being like, yes, we'll take this contract that you have a problem with for this reliever. Sure, you can have Joe Panic and a guy who exists, literally a dude. Like it was beautiful.
Dickerson's a decent player, man. Like he can still hit.
He's a great bat off the bench option. Like Espinal replaces Joe Panic from the beginning of the season, and Dickerson is the Rowdy replacement, the left-handed bat off the bench.
Yeah.
And, if you make a big trade, since this team is very concerned with years of control, since even this reliever has years of control in Adam Cimber, if you have to trade a roster piece like, I don't know, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Gurriel, he's going to be traded, but a Grichuk Dickerson platoon is actually a really nice left field with Teo and Springer. Like I'm actually completely fine with that. So it opens up more trades. It makes the team better right now. It addresses their biggest need. It really is just a slam dunk. There's nothing you can say negative about this, I don't think, unless you just hate Shatkins. Like you just generally hate them.
Joe Panic, like Montoya. Montoya's probably very upset with this trade.
Yeah, he needed some time to reflect.
Not to mention, it's a win just to take Joe Panic away from Charlie Montoya, and I actually like Joe Panic a lot.
Yeah. But it was weird how they reported it, how they reported the trade. Like Dickerson was like the headliner, and I'm like, and at first glance, I'm like, what? Like, why?
It's like, no, they traded for Adam Cimber. Like, that's the trade.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
No, I know it was weird. Where it's just like they traded for a hurt dude who plays the outfield, a fifth outfielder. Oh no, he's actually hurt, and they traded for Adam Cimber, and they got Corey Dickerson because the Marlins are cheap, and we were like, give me that.
Yeah,
brokey.
Yeah. That's what we do.
All right, Theo, we can get to this mess unless you have anything else you guys want to jump in on the Cimber deal.
No, I just want to say Ross Stripling runs this team and he wins again. You have a problem with Ross Stripling, you're going to be off this fucking team. That's where we established.
Well, he's the ace. So.
Literally, he's the best pitcher in baseball.
Well, Robbie Ray, I would say, is the best pitcher on this staff. But
until the third time through the order. We'll talk about today.
You saw that stat, eh?
I didn't know that was the stat.
Neither did I. Like sub 200 first time through the order. I think it was like 190 something, then 180 something, or it was 170, 180, and then 365, and then there was a dinger today. But Theo will get to that.
It doesn't feel like he melts down though. Like he has.
I feel like that's a pitch count thing with him, and he's tired. I don't feel like it's. Yeah, I agree with you, Theo. I don't think. Again, I love numbers and I use numbers for absolutely everything. I'm the one talking about fan graphs. I'm the one talking about Ryu's, like the way his pitches move and the intense analytical delve into the numbers there. You can, though, use numbers for anything. You know what I mean? You can use them to justify pretty much anything. So watching Robbie Ray, I'd have to look into it more. But like watching him, I tend to agree with Theo.
Yeah. But again, you'll take what you get. 7 innings, 2 runs. Just been amazing for us. We started the game. Randall Grichuk stole a home run. We haven't got anything else since. The Rays have benefited from some bad defense. Bo Bichette, Teoscar Hernandez, not good. Dolis came in just in the 9th inning.
Well, it had been fine. It had been fine until Wander Franco hit a dinger off the top of the wall. Like it just barely got out.
That happened to Grichuk though. We 2 of the same runs, and both those home runs happened after a guy got thrown out. You noticed that. So,
on the bases,
which was lucky. And then, then Dolis came in and it just went to shit. And Dolis is now out, and Saucedo got the second out, but it's now 5-1.
So we just can't put Cimber in for all 5 innings after the starter comes.
He was good, and Romano again can only pitch 1 day. I don't know.
And he wasn't crisp his last outing too.
No, yesterday he walked.
Well, no, that's 6 days. That's what happens when you don't pitch for 6 days. This is again like I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get like now he's he went from the fireman who you used in every situation, man on, man on. It didn't matter. Like you threw him out there whenever it was the most important time. To now he's just the closer, and we only use him in closer situations. Like a direct save situation, unless we need to get him work. Like, what are we?
You would have liked him today, down 2-1, 9th inning to get us to the,
Instead, the guy fresh off the injured list is who we put in. So
I know this bullpen doesn't have a lot of arms that you trust, but taking Dolis right off the IL and putting him into a leverage situation. Now you're down, but just. But before we just go on another anti-Charlie rant, because multiple of these happen per episode, is there anything else you boys wanted to get to as we watch this game slip away?
I think we're good. It's a 3-3 week. It felt like it could have been better. We had those.
It was this series against the Rays, the way it started before today, and then the way Robbie Ray was pitching, and it kind of felt like it was going with that early Grichuk home run, where you were kind of like, "Oh my God, they're gonna do it," and you would be 2 games back, and you're not out of it by any means. A split week is fine, which, to be honest, coming into this, we would have assumed that they would have gone like 2-1 against the Mariners and then 1-2 against the Rays, right? Just because they always lose against the Rays. So it's a split anyways. It's just the way it happened feels a little weird. But what are you going to do? Yeah. Anything else you boys want to get to, or should I wrap her up?
I think we're good. There's no Blue Jays in the home run derby, so
no Vladdy declined.
Also, Tony, do you like the red hats with the blue jerseys?
No,
I hate these hats too.
Why don't they wear the dark? I see other teams have dark ones.
Well, then
I think that would work better. But.
They also have the American stuff, but the Canadian flag and the tour can't.
I know. It's just they got to make it all America.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, it's a Major League Baseball thing.
You know what those hats look like? This is okay. I said this about, remember the Leafs reverse retro jerseys? These red Jays hats are exactly like the reverse retro jerseys, as in it looks like every kid in Northern Ontario had one because every kid's mom, aunt, or grandmother bought one at Giant Tiger and gave it to them for Christmas. Yeah. That's how bad these hats look. They look like terrible knockoffs.
Well, especially because they're wearing the blue jerseys. Like, they don't match.
It's so dumb. So dumb. But anyway, Tony, burn the house down. No, go for it.
Okay. No,
I'm just saying, analytics guy. Do it.
I'm the jersey guy. Okay, the Mets were wearing a black hat. Like, that kind of thing would have worked better. Like the Jays spring training ones a few years ago, when they had the blue with the leaf on the dark blue. That would have worked better. If you have to have an alternate hat, that would have been much better. But I think the Jays want to force this red into everything. You see the players always have red sleeves and wrist tape. Like, I don't know. If they had a red alternate, which I don't know, it didn't really work out before, but the dark hat would have worked. It would have worked much better.
Well, they had the red jerseys again for Canada. They had the red jerseys. The only thing I'll throw in non-jersey related, I guess it is jersey related since I'm the shoe guy. Alek Manoah's Canada Day Jordan 1 cleats with the skyline that were also like the off-white Jordan, like fire. Absolute fire.
Yeah, the custom cleats we see now. The custom cleats we see now are very cool. Same with the socks. Socks are styled much nicer in the game.
The stance socks,
Were you talking about Manoah's?
Yeah.
He almost hurt himself. I thought he hurt himself on that one pitch. I was so
he tripped on the mound. Yeah,
these fucking shoes is gonna be it. Yeah.
It's not the shoes, hey. I have a whole bunch of Jays. Don't you mistalk the Jays. I have a shoe wall over there on my right. That's it. That's it for this episode of the Toronto on Tilt Blue Jays podcast. As always, I'm Steve Artabello with Anthony Harris and Theo Giordano. Like I said at the beginning, you can find us at our website, torontoontilt.com. I do have some more free time coming up, so I will be writing some articles. You can find us on Twitter. We'll also probably be more active, Toronto on Tilt. You can find the video for this YouTube, you can find the video for this podcast on YouTube. If I could speak English, maybe this is why I'm going to have a bunch of free time, because I can't speak English. You can find it on YouTube, Toronto on Tilt. And of course, you can find our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Google, Breaker, Bleaker, all of the things. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, until Monday. See you guys later.
I'm waiting for Tony's last thought because last time he got cut off.